to strap in and get ready. The leaders in NRL SuperCoach are incoming. Bringing you the ultimate insight to help you win your leagues and climb up the rankings. You're now listening to the Insight NRL Show with your hosts, Brain, Mattrix, and Whisperer.
G'day guys, welcome back to the Insight NRL Show. We've got week 3 of trials, the final week of trials, our final look at all of these players before we have to take them on into our teams come Vegas. Josh, how you feeling about things so far, mate? Because we've got some teams that have named an absolute, waste of our time, but we've got some full strength teams lining up this weekend.
Yeah, we do. So we can dissect the couple and get a better idea of what rotations look like, and not rotations, but team lists in 2 weeks. But yeah, a couple of teams are just wasting my time making a graphic that takes an hour to make for trial recap scores, which you know all too well about this week. So it's, don't waste my time, NRL teams. But no, in all seriousness, good to see some footy back. Good to see some cheapies be named, but have a good idea of playing after people lost their head for the last 7 weeks about how we have none, and now we all of a sudden have too many.
I can see there in your little name graphic at the bottom of the screen there on YouTube, Shibasaki supporter, which is the one that's come from the clouds, isn't it?
Yeah. But could you imagine? So when did the app open? Like early December? What odds would you give me if I said, hey, round 1, we're going to own Jeremy Shibasaki and Jack Osevsky?
You would have been cancelled on the internet, first of all, for making a take like that. I saw some bloke rip it into you yesterday on Facebook saying that you make some questionable calls. So I'm really disappointed that you haven't talked about Nathan Cleary that much this preseason. But Shibasaki could have been the end of your career.
I love that if you ever make a post on a player that's like less than 5% owned, they're a shit pick and they're a dud. And it's like you're offending people just for even asking the question. For anyone not listening, it was about Benny's Crosland. The average is like 59.5 over 70-minute games. And I was like, hey, look, if Bradley's been shopped around, like, is there a chance we could start with Crosland? And this guy's like, oh, you're making some real questionable selections. Like I didn't tell you to pick anyone, but I'm just like asking the question, hey, is this an option? But obviously not, unless it's Nathan Cleary or Terrell May, then no, not an option.
You were, as we've both been quoted, we asked the NRL to not waste our time this week, and you were wasting his time by talking about Felix Crosland by the sound of things. But mate, we're here to talk about the trials, so let's do that. But guys, if you haven't yet, please hit like and subscribe. But also, we're getting to the pointy end of the preseason now, where we do our best work inside the Patreon. So if you want to know what our rankings are and our top 9 consensus picks for every position in NRL SuperCoach this year, we've got them already up inside the Patreon, center wing to come in the next couple of days, and our draft board coming by the end of the week if you're in a draft comp. So definitely get involved there. It's only $9.95 a month, 30 cents a day. Pretty affordable. But the value is going to come, Josh, in Patreon when we do our live Q&A in the lead up to the season, because we're going to get to answer everybody's questions in there. Absolutely.
I'm very, very fortunate to have the following that I have. Just ticked over 40,000 last week, which is a nice little flex, but I don't have the time to answer between player A and player B. So, we're going to correlate all those questions into a Q&A. And obviously, those Patreon guys, the guys that support us, will support you and your teams and your questions. So, jump in 30 cents a day. It will go towards funding my new coffee addiction. As I was talking to Braino off air, I am 27 years of age, and I had my very first coffee on Saturday, and I am now hooked. So, your Patreon is paying for my my travels around Kirribilli and finding cafes to try
your caramel latte addiction. Very, very soon to be incoming. We all know that when you start drinking coffee for the first time, it's caramel lattes or mochas, and you progress through. You get through to the ranks, and eventually you'll be having triple shot espressos at the cafe before you go to work. But guys, if you haven't jumped in the Unlimited League yet, the code is 211518, 211518. Win a standard squeeze price pack every week for the top scorer. Get involved there and take us on. And of course, if you haven't joined the World Cup yet, still plenty of time. We've still got, I think, 13 days until the season kicks off. You can jump in the SuperCoach World Cup and take on all 4 sports. That's NRL, AFL, BBL, and NBL SuperCoach. We correlate all of your rankings across all 4 sports, and you can be crowned the best SuperCoach player in the world. We just announced the winners. Shout out to Mitchell, who was Twitch It Flinch, he's known as in the Discord. Took it out with a 0.898%. As an average rank across 4 sports is just fucking insane. Like top 1% in every sport. It's crazy.
That is insane. But on that Santa Squeeze pack, 1 pack every week, that is criminal value from those guys supporting us. And yeah, it's unreal value for you guys.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. They've been with us since day one. That's, about $60 in value every single week for 27 weeks, and they've done that for 3 years. So shout out to the Standard Squeeze. We'll talk about them a bit later. But Josh, let's talk.
Being 1% in all 4 sports. That is cooked.
I know, insane, absolutely insane. Yeah, we'll see if anybody can beat that this year. But it's a long season. You've got to play all year. You've got to be engaged all year. So $25 to enter. You can get involved in that, and you can get involved in the Ultimate Fantasy Championship competition as well, where we combine Dream Team, Fantasy Mixer, and SuperCoach together. We do the same thing as the World Cup. Get involved in that. We've got nearly 20 people already. $25 ahead. The prize pool hopefully will be pushing a couple of grand by the end. So hop in the Discord. All the info is there. But, mate, enough of the plugs. Let's move in to talk about the worst game of the week, being Manly and Panthers, to kick things off at 6 p.m. on Friday. We don't have a Thursday game, which is incredibly depressing. I don't know what I'm going to do on Thursday. We'll probably record more podcasts, to be fair.
I have some people that live in my house that I probably should talk to once in the blue, because they're not going to see me for 27 weeks.
That's true. Is that your 2 cats? You got to give them some attention, sure.
Yeah, and someone that makes my dinner every night. Apparently, I'm with her, so it'll be nice. One more weekend before 27 straight weeks of footy.
Lucky man. Mate, there's not really much going on in this first game. Panthers are on their way to Vegas, so they've obviously named their backup second squad. Manly have named Lehigh Hopewadi on the wing, I guess, as a notable selection there. It'd be interesting to see Jason Saab rumoured to be kind of touch and go for round 1. But Ruben Garrick in the centres, as we expected, mate. But we've got Ben Trebojevic, old Burbo, starting on an edge. Do you reckon he can lock down that edge this year now that Carl Lawton's gone over to the Cowboys?
Yeah, it's probably him or the man he's pairing up with, Corey Waddell. A big Corey Waddell fan. A couple of, I guess, notable names here. We've got, I couldn't remember, and I'm back at work now full-time, which sucks because I'm sort of out of the SuperCoach loop. I can't remember if it's Sipley or Paseka that is touch and go for round 1. I think NRL Physio.
I think it's Paseka.
Yeah, so interesting that we do see Siosiwa Takiaho named to start. Look, he is 453K. Probably not a classic guy, but I'll tell you what, I think people might forget about him in round 17, round 18 of your drafts. And if you're punting front row forward, I can think of very worse players to pick up than Takiaho. And I know that SuperCoach Guns, friend of Inside Podcast, it's friends of the Inside Podcast Network, he dropped his team on Twitter, and it did feature one Jay Tavanga in the second row for about mid 300Ks. And there's some talk he's been taking number 1 reps. So,
I mean, look, they've got a few options, don't they? The problem becomes, do you name a Jake Simpkin on the bench? A Lachlan Croker's kind of coming back from an injury that he had throughout the preseason, a little clean-out surgery of his knee. So, look, there's, I don't know. Like, what do you need from Jazz Tavanga to pick him? I'd need fucking 50-plus minutes, to be honest. I'm not keen at all. But, Burbo's an interesting one.
I'd rather take Aaron Clark, who's probably got more security for 30K more.
100%. Absolutely.
But, yeah, you're keen on Burbo. And I'll leave the floor to you because I know that we hit that point in the preseason when you unironically asked me if Burbo's an option. So I'm going to let you, I guess, take the floor on this one.
Look, I don't have much aside from the fact that he played about. No, honestly, I don't want to convince people to pick Burbo because I'm going to have people with pitchforks at my front door. But I looked at Burbo's stats because it was late down the rabbit hole one night, and I thought, I'm going to look at Burbo, see what's going on there, because there's a chance he wins this edge spot. And in the 8 games that he played, 80 minutes on the edge for Manly last year, he averaged 58 SuperCoach points per game. So for me, I mean, there were some 70s and some 80s in there, but there were also some 40s. But I think the 40 is the floor. He didn't score I think he only scored under 40 once in those 8 games.
That's the worst you get, and I'll tell you what, there's worse shouts.
Yeah, and even if you're going to have him as your centre wing 4, I mean, the beauty of it is he's got that duel. And if you're someone who has a Dylan Lucas, you've got a Jack Bird, who we'll talk about later. Maybe you won't after this episode. You've got one of those centre wing duels, and you can interchange them based on both positions. Maybe he does provide a little bit more value than somebody that you would be picking as a,
Is there some value in that duel?
Got to be. Got to be. There has to be. There has to be.
Mate, there's no one else really I want to talk about in this game. There's absolutely no one I want to talk about from Penrith. So shout out Asuka Power. That's about it, really.
Asuka Power, I've got a diamond Asuka Power just sitting in my game day squad at the moment as well. So shout out to him. I don't even know if he was going to play football again. So welcome back. Thankfully,
the Tigers have named some kind of relevant team. We do have, we're missing a couple of first graders. There's no Bullard. There's no Sonny Taru recovering from his appendix, and Buller had some pretty invasive shoulder surgery in the offseason. So probably just giving those guys enough time. As with Luai, we know that he picked up a knock in training a couple weeks ago. So we would have loved to see that combination. But I think the really interesting point in this back line is Jarrell Skelton. Now, depending on what side he's playing on, we know that Sonny Taruva's been training on the left before that appendix, and Skelton lined up on the left in the trial, which I didn't get to jump on and talk Tigers propaganda in the recap last week, but just want to make it known that he did play on the left. So, there's some talk that maybe Luke Leauali'i may play. He's 280K, so definitely one to watch. I don't want to see Charlie Staines anywhere near this team. I'd love to see Skelton line up on the right this game. That would basically solidify him in my Supercoach team, but all ours will be on Adam Doueihi, mate, because, when the Tigers eventually score 40 points in this game, he'll be taking a lot of the goal kicks, and really comes down to some relevance between him and Appy. Appy obviously being the main goal kicker, and they both kicked at okay percentages, but with Appy missing round 1 with that suspension, there is a world where Adam Doueihi kicks round 1 and probably just maybe holds on to it. I floated him up in our group chat and you shot me down, so I can't get on board with Burbo after you just dismissed me with Adam Doueihi.
Look, I'm not keen on Adam Doueihi. I'll make it very clear. I don't know. I just think that there's too much risk, especially from coming back from an ACL that required 2 surgeries. We know that his previous knee issues, it's the 3rd time that he's done that knee. I'm just not feeling confident in Adam Doueihi's body as much as I love him as a footballer. I just feel like when you're coming back from 3 ACLs in 4 seasons, there's got to be something that's got to give there. And as unfortunate as it is, I think he will line up at centre, and sure, he's probably going to score okay, but I just don't feel like making another trade there. I know that we're going to get hit with injuries and HIAs this year. I just don't want to add another one to my list.
Yeah. Obviously got, really unknown Supercoach prospect, Terrell May. Definitely keep a watch for him. Not sure if anyone's spoken about him this preseason, but he's one to watch. I do want to pick your brain. Obviously, you and I are both Tigers fans. There's some reports today that David Clemmer may have played his last game for the Tigers after being left out of this. You and I, we're both keen on Evan Clark, but we're not 100% sold. For just 50K more, can I interest you in a bit of Funil Bole?
Yes, absolutely. I don't know where you were going with that. I thought you were going to say someone like Seyfarth or something. But
no, he's got the captain's arm in this game. How about that?
Yeah. What a man. He's great. But
he's locked and loaded. But no, seriously, Funil Bole, as we're talking about, I've had guys like Lazarus Valapu, Daniel Saluka Fafita, Tom Amone, Royce Hunt. I've had them all. I've gone through all the bum front row forward 3 and 4s, and I'm coming to the realization there's a lot of 2RFs. So I might just run a front row forward 3, a playable front row forward 3. And if I'm not counting Clark, I tell you what, Funil Bole at 440K, I am all aboard. I don't have the stats on me because I read the David Clemmer report about 10 minutes before we hit record. So follow my socials. I'll try and post something when I can. But yeah, Funil Bole, mate.
Yeah, very keen. I mean, he's shown over in the past couple of seasons he's been a big minute guy. I'm just pulling up his stats on supercoachstats.com, and 37 in base, 6 in evade. There's pretty much not anything else going on at all there. But he is going to be playing nearly every game. He's played 23 games in both the last 2 seasons for me, which is huge. I think availability, we talk about being the best ability. His PPM's near 1. He's averaged anywhere between 43 to 49 minutes per game in the last 3 seasons. So, look, I think there could be a minute uptick potentially. It's just you've got to believe that they're going to use him potentially at prop and lock. I think that's probably where his value is if he's playing 50 to 55 minutes. I think there's a chance that he's worth looking at. But 45 minutes probably isn't enough for me considering he's priced around that mark. So I'd want 50 minutes as a minimum, I think, if that's a chance.
Yeah, so just looking at footy statistics, obviously a fantasy page, but I use it to get an idea of how much game time a player's had. Looks like he's played about 22 games in his career over 50 minutes between lock and prop.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what I'm doing after this call. I'm going to be jumping straight on that and trying to put that through Supercoach Stats, and I'll give it a post tomorrow because I'm actually quite keen.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I can't talk you out of that. I love Funil Bole. I think he's criminally underutilized. When I see him named on the bench and playing, 40 minutes a game, it makes me upset. I think he's a genuine starter. Yeah,
and look, I love him. People are saying, he needs to play 13. He's not a 13. Like he's just not a modern 13. And I think if Clemmer moves on, he is great. Chucking him in opens up a spot for a guy like Johansson to come through from Cup as well. That's very rogue Tiger shout. But let's move on to the bench because it does have some relevance. Tell you what, Talon De Silva, Latu Fainu, they're going to be a problem in a couple of years. No Appy, obviously left him out, trying to get some reps into these guys playing round 1. But there is a 249K, very heavily owned front row forward sitting on the bench here in Royce Hunt. Even in this photo, mate, his shoulders are looking pretty large. It's not just the Maori photo. In this, he's just a large human.
He is a big boy, isn't he? Yeah.
I'm
I'm
off. I wasn't.
not a chance.
Look, people are messaging me. People messaged me today, mate, and said, "Oh, look, can we start having some Royce Hunt slander because he underperformed in the All-Star game?" I'm happy to give him a pass in the All-Star game. He done his shoulder pretty early, got some injections and played on, so I just put a line through that. But 249K. If he was 239, I know it's 10K difference, but it's like that's a lot when you're looking at a bench guy that you're not happy to play. Like, it's why I'm probably not keen on having Billy Smith as like my settling five. It's like I'm not paying 320K for a bench guy. And Jack Bird as well, double whammy, bang bang. I'm not keen on both, but I can understand the appeal in Jack Bird if he does play that Josh Curran role from last year. Have a guy like Alex Twal come in and just go hell for leather for 20 minutes, and then Jack Bird comes on. But it's a big gamble to pay at 370K, isn't it?
It's massive. I don't feel good about it. I saw your post on socials talking about the fact that if Jack Bird potentially played 60 minutes off the pine, would you be interested? I mean, I don't have the confidence to go and make that decision with my starting team in round one, hoping that happens, because there's every chance he could just play 35 and then we're fucked. So for me, a bit too much risk involved. Royce Hunt, I'm completely off him. So I'm on the same thought process there. The one thing that doesn't make sense to me is Alex Twal in the 13. Like, surely we've got a ball playing lock coming through the ranks. Oh, that's right, we do. And Justin Matamua. Like, what's he got to do to get a game? I just think the way that I'm looking at this team list, it's like we're playing 3 props for 20 minutes, try and settle the game, and then Jack Bird can come on. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. If you want to protect Jack Bird, go for it. Parramatta, mate. Isaiah Yongi, sure. Let's get another look at him. I wish that we could see him with Brown and Moses, but that's just not happening. So it's Twiddle and Ronald Volkman. So a little bit different to first grade standards. I don't know how much I can take from this game if I'm not on Iongi at the moment, but like I don't know what I have to see with him with second-rate halves to pick him. I think you just need to see him stand out, to be honest. Like I think you look at him and you've bottled it. You've sat here for 2.5 months, told everyone, nah, 3 fullbacks is the way to go. And at the last moment, you've bottled it. So what are you looking for from Iongi? No, I'm currently back on the 3 fullbacks train. So no, but what do I need to see? I just need to see that kind of a lot of sweeping out the back. I think obviously he's still going to get decent ball, but I just want to see him sweeping and connecting with his edges and connecting with his winger. We saw him do that really well where he swept to the right and threw the cutout ball for the right corner. So if we see more of that, that's probably what I'm looking for. I don't necessarily care too much about work rate because I know that Mitchell Moses is going to, and Dylan Brown, 2 of the better halves in the competition, are going to make sure he gets probably the best ball. So that's probably what I'd need to see. But, to pick him, I'd need to be very, very disappointed with what the cheapies and what the potential bottom dollar guys put up this weekend. We saw Rob Toya do a good job last week. He's probably cemented his spot there. We're going to see Jackson Purdue. We'll talk about him soon. We get to have a look at him. He'll be another popular option. Savelio Tamale, I'm not overly sold on him, but he's another option. We've got options there in terms of cheapies. Jack Kashevsky, all these guys. Now, another cheapie, Josh, that doesn't seem to be in favour is Charlie Geimer in the 19 jersey for the Eels. I thought he was initially going to see some edge minutes, but he is not. And Kitione Katauga looks like he's going to get the reps at starting edge, at least in this trial. Yeah, probably we'll have one of them, just a question of which. So cool to see Katoga get some reps. I want to quickly chuck on my tinfoil hat here. Mm-hmm. We do see Nojo offer Hengawi. Do you think this is a bit of a punishment for being a dick on TV, or? Yeah, honestly, probably. Look, I don't know. I think Jason Riles... Because we do see Insight Fantasy cult hero Jack Williams line up in the 8. Yes, we do. We do, which I don't mind at all. But in saying that, I think it's going to be Joe in round 1. So I wouldn't look into that too much. Can we look into the number 9? Because, boy... Well, look, I think we came to the conclusion last week that we weren't overly keen on Brendan Hands maybe anymore, but I don't know. Like for me, I think now we're at a point where, and hello, Mattrix, now we're at a point where for the Eels, there is too much risk with this musical chairs in the 9 that I don't know whether I want to look there when you can just have Sandon Smith and, Corey Pakes, who put his hand up last week, gets another crack this week. Yeah, okay, so what do we do if Corey Pakes only plays 40 minutes and scores
15 points in BP
Yep.
and doesn't score 2 tries because we've now got Mamazelos who shit the bed. Now it's confirmed that he's splitting with Jamie Humphries.
Yep.
We've got Hands and Lussick, who knows what's happening. Riley Smith in the mix. We have Shannon Smith, who stunk.
Let me tell you what we do. We have Connor Watson at 2RF, and we get the fuck out of there as quick as possible.
Do you think all three of us are just going to bottle it like the Thursday before round one, and we just have like Brayley, Plath, James
Shibasaki?
Yeah, I mean he's locked. Yeah. He's locked in. But like with Hooker, like
I just tried to add him, so that's great.
Yeah, no, not there yet. Well, not there yet. We'll discuss it in time. But no, Hooker has turned grim. I don't know. This one's a teamless Tuesday thing for me because like if they run one Hooker, then I'm probably just going to get sucked in and hope for the best.
Yeah, look, I mean, you're going to have to bail out of one of them, really. And if you've got Connor Watson at 2RF, you have that option, and I think we're probably expecting that this isn't going to be smooth sailing if you're going with double cheapy Hooker. There's going to be some bumps in the road. So if you've got a bailout strategy, I think it works well. We talked about a Yongi.
There's no bumpy road with Kamatulagi. Death taxes him just carrying the 2RF. What a guy.
Yeah, he's my 2RF 3 at the moment, and he's locked in. Zero issues.
He's 2RF 1 in your eyes, though.
Oh, absolutely. Don't look at my draft board. Here's my 2RF 1. Okay, we're locked and loaded.
Boys, Dragons, Rabbitohs. We see a couple of talking points to the big boys: Gutherson, Val, superstar halves pairing Carl Flanagan, Lachlan Ilias, Damien Cook, Luciano, 2RF of the year, according to ChatGPT. So, JDB. It's named a pretty much full strength squad, but there's some interesting Sione for now. You've got Christian Tuipulotu, you've got Matt Fiega, you've got Tyrell Sloan. So 4 doesn't go into 2. I think Sloan's coming back from an injury, and I'm not too sure what's happening with Tuipulotu, but Sione for now. 278 or 279K.
Well, I mean, Sloan's been named in the 18, so whether they're just thinking, get him some reps off the bench and he comes in and either plays at fullback or plays on the wing for a little bit, fine. But look, I don't know whether I want to go there when we've got. I think Rob Toya, to be honest, at this point in time, is my only sub 200K centre wing cheapie. I don't know whether I feel good about any of these other guys, but look, if he gets named in round 1, I think we'll all be tempted, won't we? I just don't want to get fallen into the Jacob Gagai trap, Mattrix. Were you a Jacob Gagai believer last year?
I wasn't. I didn't have him. I think that, I mean, he's fine for now.
Hey.
Fucking hell. I know you provided your value somewhere. It's good to see.
I don't want to get set in the bin. I don't want to be kicked out of this call. I want to have a very safe space to have discussions. I want to talk about a really poor position at SuperCoach. It's 5'8".
No. I know where you're heading with this. No.
Who had Shane Flanagan on the fucking podcast? This is no, and not.
I thought he was going to say Sully because that's less outrageous than Flano.
Is it that outrageous? Like, is there a world where we just run Metcalf and Flanagan and just try and save as much as possible? Is Flanagan really that much? Is Flanagan really that much outrageous than Jack Cogger? And you guys were like semi okay with me suggesting Jack Cogger? I'd prefer. No,
Flanagan. You're probably right. It's not. It's not. But both of them are not a good pick for me. I'm just thinking I'm going to spend the money. That's fine.
Well, we know he's playing 24 games. We know he could.
100% he's playing 24.
He could average 8.4 SuperCoach points, and the Dragons could be 0-23, and he would still get picked.
Yeah, the word is that he might even warm up in New South Wales Cup before he then comes on and plays first grade back to back. Shane is that keen. So yeah, look, the coach's son's not getting dropped, that's for sure. But
that's only because Mrs. Flano doesn't put out if he doesn't get named. So
yeah, right. Okay, good intel. I don't know whether I'm too keen on Cole.
Yeah, I was going to say nothing can get you guys on board because like I am not keen, but like a follower messaged me saying goes like, Flano is the number one half, is like the dominant half. Like playing second receiver off Ilias. He was okay last year, and I can see the appeal. I can see the value. I can see the vision. I just don't know if I can, bring myself to pick Kay Flanagan, no matter what the stats tell me.
No,
you're right.
Yeah,
I can't either.
I agree. Yeah. What's Flanagan price at the moment at?
Like 400. So
this is the first time I have ever searched him in the SuperCoach app, mind you.
So, what concerns me is the floor. there's a 21, a 27, a 21, a 14, a 16, a 25, a 37, a 19, and a 19. And there's no scores above. There's one score above 80 against the Broncos, which, sure. I don't know. Like,
say it with me, Mattrix. Fuck no.
I'm getting big Isaiah Katoa vibes from last year. Because I remember at this similar time, I said, hey, boys, Isaiah Katoa. And you said, fuck no. And he was pretty good.
He wasn't even that good still. What did he finish at?
I don't care what he finishes at. It's what he peaked at.
All right, let's have a look at what he peaked at. He finished at
4-6. He was a plotter of the finest hour. He went from 374K to still in round 20 being 366K, Isaiah Katoa.
I'll tell you what, though.
That was a good one from you.
I think it's okay. In round 80, he topped out at 469K. So in 8 weeks, you got 150K out of him, which is not great, but it's not awful.
I'll tell you what, your maths is fucking terrible. You barely got 100K.
He started off 370.
Sorry, 370 to 470.
I thought Matty said 340. My apology.
No.
Yeah.
Look, I'm keen on Isaiah Katoa this year. I think he will take a natural next step up. But talking on Kyle Flanagan.
You're keen on Flano next year then?
Yes, absolutely. I'm keen because I think he will take a 6-year step.
Are you keen on him for your Super League SuperCoach team?
Yes, absolutely.
Tonight's show is sponsored by Betfred.
Shout out Betfred. We spent way too much time on Kyle Flanagan. The Rabbitohs, we do see our boy, 66% of this podcast likes Latrell Mitchell.
Sean Kepi.
One doesn't. We see Latrell with the captain's armband, mind you. Looking lean, looking mean, and with the captain's armband. Can get around that. We see Tigers icon Jaden Sullivan, and we see Lewis Dodd run around one more time. Is there anything that Dodd can do on this week? If he scores 100, is there any chance or no? You put the red line for him.
If he scores 100 and Duffy's not named, yes.
Okay.
We get a look at Duffy this week too, which is great. So yeah, for me, look, I think he's probably the next option behind Duffy if you're looking for that cheaper halfback. But I'd probably also still then just go with Sandon Smith back down to halfback and find another shit plotter hooker rather than pick Lewis Dodd. At the price point's awkward. It's like 360K.
Yeah, I mean, you could also just fund a shit plot at RF and just move Connor Watson up if stuff got really bad.
That too, for sure.
Is there anything that Mr. P members else can do for you boys to get some movement happening downstairs, or is it just you need? It's just.
I don't want you to put me in the same basket as Mattrix because Mattrix absolutely flamed the shit out of Pete Mamazoulis on socials recently.
We love trap music. Yeah, no, he's Trap City. Like, get the fuck out of here.
I don't know. So I don't think I'll go that far, but I think
I got flamed putting him and Brother in our podcast. I got a lot of like outrageous DMs being like, "How can you put Pete Mamazoulis in Brother?" And then you got flamed for calling him the not even Aldi Timu. I just need Brain to say something about him.
Timu is just that one step further aggressive than
crazy.
Yeah, it's not good.
I mean, okay, if Pete Mamazoulis was playing 80, if Jamie Humphries comes out, breaks his leg, and Pete Mamazoulis plays 80 minutes and scores 65 in base power, that's enough for me. So that's all I need.
We talk about vibe picks, right? Tallis Duncan has a lot of vibes, but Tallis Duncan's also priced exactly 420, which, if he was 420.069, that would be premium vibes. But the fact that he's 420 on the dot, starting the back row, Cam Murray to come back in round one, big key on Tallis back row action. Any love, or is it just sort of maybe 60K more than what we wanted to pay?
Yeah, no, a bit too expensive. I think when you've got so much value in the 300s, I think then you go pay that extra money. Even the Burbo price is a little bit awkward. Like you're looking at that 420 price, and you can save 30K on Aaron Clark. You can go down to Kobe Hetherington at 330K. You can save nearly 90K going with Kobe. I just think there's too many value options at 2RF in the 300s to look in the 400s, personally.
And he's just going to be off the bench by the time you go get Murray and blokes like that in eventually.
No, we'll see. It depends on you and Aiken. I think his shoulder's pretty cooked, isn't it? From everything that I'm led to believe. So I think Tallis may get a bit more life than we thought. Also, I did want to brush over both Catchmans. Catchman squared. Ryan at 265K, 2RF only, which is an ideal. But if he was to pick up front row forward duel, I think I'd pay the money over Royce Hunt for him.
Yeah, I would too. For sure. I'm so off Royce Hunt, it's not funny. I just think that he's going to play 25 minutes and it's going to be exactly the same as what we saw at the Sharks. So Yeah, no, thank you. But let's move on from this one. Saturday 5:30, Broncos Bulldogs, and both teams are near full strength, so this should be definitely one to watch. We've got the Carrigan at prop and Kobe Hetherington at lock experiment. We've got Jack Gashevsky named on the edge for the Broncos. Mattrix, we'll get your thoughts first, mate, because one, Kobe Hetherington, what'd you think of him live last week? You were at the game. And secondly, do you think Gashevsky is someone that's worth a watch or even worth a starting spot in our teams, considering he didn't really light it up last week when he got his opportunity?
I think that he looked really ordinary. Gashevsky did. I'm not keen at all. But they've named their full strength team, and there can obviously be something said from training the house down. Look, I'm not a selector, but I'd be chasing some of that upside in Piakura, or I think Jaden Hunt even looked better. But hey, if he is named round one at second row forward, then yes, I'm not going to be playing him, but he's going to make money playing. Like you'd think a starter for these guys, he gets 55 minutes.
Do you prefer Val Marger off the bench or starting Goss?
Val Marger off the bench.
Do you prefer Katoga from Parramatta or the Goss?
Probably the Goss there.
Oh, okay. Jeez. I do want to give a big shout out to an unnamed assailant floating around in some Discord servers. For anyone that's, laughing at a bit of Shibasaki, understandable. But I want to read you out a message that was sent on the 14th of January. This is very rogue and a while ago. Cobo to the wing, Shibasaki center, Pat Carrigan prop, Kobe 13, Piakura out of favor on the left, possibly Gasecki coming in. Moser not in contention at the moment, Pakes ahead of Walters. Where is the shit call there? Because that was over a month ago before any of this was public. Shout out to Stewie, who doesn't want to name his source. I believe this may be Madge in disguise, because with mail like that is unreal. Shibasaki is not in the top 30 Mattrix, but through eligibility rules can play round one on a developmental contract.
Actually looked pretty good.
Madge hates the guy that can't tackle, so Mariner probably Gonski.
Fuck. Mariner's such an offensive talent though.
Do you need much more offensive talent though, with like Ben Hunt, Adam Reynolds, Reece Walsh, and like Tony Staggs, so and Cobo? Like, do you need much?
I'd love to win games 54-38.
For Supercoach purposes, absolutely. Reece Walsh should become the number one fullback.
Yeah, but yeah, maybe not. Maybe Shibasaki's in there. I mean, he's in the mix. Obviously, this looks like a full strength team to me. Outside of maybe, Jock Madden not actually coming off the bench, and maybe Karapani and getting, I'm presuming that dare I say Takura? I'm presuming that maybe Marty Taupau or somebody like that's gonna come in there, or Jaden Hunt or somebody like that. Deloise Hoyter's not going to be there. Karapani's not going to be there. Siegwalt was good on the week. Actually, his footwork is sensational. But yeah, I just don't see them being there at the end. But hey, Shibasaki, if he's named, I'm all in. I'll play.
What price though? Because like at 198k, obviously must have. At 232k, still getting around it.
Yeah, it's only 30.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess where are you tapping out if he's one of those weird like 279k guys?
Yeah. If he's 299, I'm not interested.
Okay.
Let's set the bar there.
All right. Sweet. So when he's 300k, Mattrix has him in round one. We'll bully him. But no, I think it's a good question to ask. I think it's a solid question to ask because we do have Purdue at like 257. We've got Tamale at 232. I've got more confidence if Shibasaki has won the spot on merit. And no offense, Cowboys and or Raiders fans, but the Broncos just inherently are probably a better attacking side. I'm not going to say better side, but better attacking side for Supercoach.
They're better side. Yeah. Thanks.
Doggies. Our boy Connor Trace. This is pretty much full strength, barring a certain Jacob Carraz. I'm going to take a bit of a victory lap here, if it's okay with you boys. Because I got slammed when I said that his old Gary Jack was cooked. People were bringing up a certain Raiders 5'8", saying that I got no idea what I'm talking about. Mail sucks.
Sources.
As per sources.
Usually,
but, bad day to be a hater of mine. I'm going to take a bit of a victory lap on that one. But yeah, Carez's back is
You wearing the crown to the front today. You wearing the crown to the front.
That's me, baby. That's me. But no, all seriousness, yeah, he hasn't trained all preseason. Gus has just been like, I don't know, like he's not good. Like, what do you want me to say? So, Marcelo Montoya, anyone? Can I interest you in a bit of Marcelo Montoya?
I'd rather have Blake Wilson than Marcelo Montoya.
Oh, maybe if you had, I think he's an awkward price, but maybe if you had news that he was out for 11 rounds or something.
Oh, it's just one of those weird. It's like a concussion injury, isn't it? It's just like, could be back next week, could be back in 10 weeks.
Yeah,
it's like when
it's like Croker, how that's going.
It's like Phil Gould's tweet was like my old man when he messages me back and he's not interested in chatting. It's just, is Jacob Carraz going to be good for round one? No, with 2 dots as well. The 2 dots just solidify that. So, shame for Carraz.
Not 1, not 3.
No,
thanks,
just
Ian.
2 dots. Just 2 dots. Yeah, that's the one. I'm excited for Connor Tracy, as everybody would know. So I'll be watching him very closely to decide whether I'm going to go with him or not to start the season. Aside from that, mate. Yeah,
I was going to say we spent a good 10 minutes talking about the prospect of Daniel Luca Fafita for how good he played. Only for a day later for him not to be named.
Good.
I get it. Looking at this pack, though.
Yeah, Josh Curran, Bailey Hayward, Curtis Moran, Jamin Summon, the fish.
Where's the size though? I need.
So Luca Fafita's a big boy, and they just picked a bunch of small boys.
It's just the small. Yeah, it's the smallest bench in the comp. Like, I understand they want to be versatile, and that's probably their advantage when they come in with a smaller pack. But they need some size there. I mean, you can't rely. Max King's the biggest bloke in this team, and he's not exactly a monster either.
You boys like a bit of
58 minutes.
You boys like a bit of NBA reference. I would compare Max King to a bit of Zaza Pachulia and the rest of the bench as the 2016 Golden State Warriors.
It feels, yeah, absolutely. It feels like a PJ Tucker at center at the Rockets type job. This one,
that's a pull. Good pull.
There's some small boys here, but I'm keen to see Jacob Preston. I'm keen to watch how he goes and how he connects with Toby Sexton on the right side. So we'll see. Look, a lot of this is pretty much locked in terms of their team. I think from what we can see, it's just a couple of moving parts and whether they actually move with this small bench or whether DSF gets a spot in round one. But we're gonna have to wait for that.
We've been recording for 37 minutes. I reckon we're going to spend that much time dissecting this Dolphins forward pack because Christian Wolf, he's cooking something. I don't know what he's cooking. It could be a 3-star Michelin meal or it could be a regional New South Wales bistro meal. I'm not sure. It could be one of the two. But we're cooking with something. Backs name them as themselves. Hamiso, Isako, Everillo, Farnworth, Bostock, Nicarima, Qatar. Cool. That's what it says on the tin. The forwards, boys. So I feed you prop. All right, sweet. Kurt Donahue at 9, no JMK. Bit weird because you've got, one of the best 9s in the comp last year in Max Plath. We've got Felice Kafusi at prop, which we probably expected this. So, nothing too out of the ordinary. And we've got Max Plath at the 12. What do we think? Are we on? Is this hot or is this not?
I think it's vibes.
This
vibes,
gives me
yeah, sure.
Ruben Cotter and Origin vibes.
You know what? The Kurt Donahue at hooker makes me feel good about JMK, considering they're probably just if Plath was at hooker, I'd be worried for JMK. But the fact that Plath isn't there means that they're probably just using a plug and play once off Kurt Donahue at hooker. So the rest of their structure doesn't get. He
was one of the Dolphins' best last week. Do you think this is just a bit of a hey, well done, mate? We'll give you another run out over Max Plath?
Yeah, maybe. I think that if JMK was going to miss any time throughout the season, they'd want their guy that they were going to play at 9 to play this week. But the fact that Donahue is there in the 9 means maybe it's just a cool JMK is going to come in at the 9. They didn't want to disrupt what the round 1 backline or forward pack could actually look like. But again, fuck. The Plath on edge and Gilbert at lock, I thought it'd be the other way around, to be completely honest.
Does this give us some blood flow for Kulakefu Finifuaki? No, still dead on arrival.
I was keen on him like day one at the team picker, and that's probably where it ended.
Yeah, but we were worried about...
I think if I need somebody at that 300k outside of like Kobe Hetherington or somebody like that, I could get around him. I think he's below value. I just don't think he's got a huge ceiling.
How much money you reckon he makes?
I think he'd be a 478k guy.
I love the specificity as well. You always bring that to the podcast with your numbers because you love your numbers, right?
Big numbers guy. I can
I don't know. I don't know. This is too much value.
Tallis Duncan or Kulik?
Oh, fuck me. Thanks. Good. That's great. It's like, would you like to have these boiled spinach, or would you like mashed peas? Like, what am I supposed to
I'm a
pick?
huge mashed
mashed peas.
Yeah, maybe Kulik
Oh, no, I think
Fuyaki is the mashed
Fuyaki.
peas.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you boys were like a little bit more hot for Tallis Duncan. Maybe I'm the only one that is.
I love Tallis Duncan when Cameron Murray is not playing. That's pretty much it for me, personally.
All right. Boys, Junior Chipu as the Impact 14.
Fuck.
Sure.
So that means that we pretty much stop talking about the Dolphins at this point, and we move straight to the Titans, doesn't it?
Yeah. We don't see a Jaden Campbell. I don't know if anything happened in the chat. Oh, we see him named at 18.
He's
All right.
18, yeah.
So he's dropped. We can just not overreact, and we can say that he's dropped.
Put a line through. He's done. Yep.
What about Tony Francis, guys? Like, what are we thinking?
Who's missing? There's no. Alan,
AKP.
what do you mean? Alan Fitzgibbon
AKP's
has a
in the
big
9.
spot?
AKP's in the 19 jersey, so maybe he's coming back from something that we haven't heard about.
Oh, I just thought Alan Fitzgibbon trained the house down.
Maybe. Yes. A bloke named Alan Fitzgibbon probably won't make it into my SuperCoach team just due to his name.
Do we think that Tino could line up off the bench in round 1 or round 2?
Maybe.
I
Yeah.
can't touch him.
I'm not starting there. I'd rather just pick him in round 4 if he's good. Like, there's just way too much risk starting. There's every chance, and shout out to the Rubdown boys, like there's every chance he probably comes off the bench for maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks, plays sub 50 minutes for that long. Like, you look at their pack, there's so many fucking middle forwards in the Titans. You've got Mo Fotuaika, you've got Jamin Jolliffe, you've got Chris Randall can probably play through the middle whenever he needs to and also spell Verrills at lock. Then you add Tino into the mix as well. I don't know. And Pahulu as well, who was decent last year when Tino was out. Like, they've got so many middles. I just think that they don't need to rush him back.
Yeah, I'm a big Josiah Puluhu fan. But yeah, I could definitely see a world where it's just like Jermaine Jolliffe and Mo Fotuaika just do a job, and we buy Tino for. Oh, mate, imagine we get Tino for like $450K.
And I mean, we've got Regan Campbell-Gillard in the mix here too.
Yeah, true.
So
if you have a red Sharpie, break it out, write Tino with a bit of paper, and then just rub it out.
Yes, big claim.
I can't wait to see your trap post for Tino next week.
Yeah, I might
He's not
compare
that
him to,
silly.
like Sheen. Is Sheen like one of those like Teemu websites? One of those like those warehouse slave label. Yeah, I'll just compare him to that, and then I'll just get
Crazy Clark.
Crazy Clark's good.
Philo, Franklin's.
Yeah.
Love a Franklin's.
Aldi.
Yeah, Franklin's was the GOAT back in the day before it was the whole Woolworths takeover. But Keanu Keeney in the 14, Brian Kelly also just in the 16 on the bench. So this is an interesting one that you probably shouldn't take too much from. Does Kelly, assuming Kelly probably comes back into this team and Fafita plays on the wing?
You're killing my Alan Fitzgibbon dreams. I'm
just not on board with this whole Alan Fitzgibbon agenda. Tony Francis, on the other hand, I can get around that.
Don't get influenced by big podcasters, guys.
This is true. The shirt is coming. Don't you
All
worry.
right, let's move on because I'm done with Des Hasler and trying to decipher him. Let's try and decipher Trent Robinson, which could even be even harder. The Chookies taking on the Knights. Love a good Gosford game at 3:15 on a Sunday. Nothing better. We see the Roosters game. What I would expect first. Like their backline is what I would suggest be the first, barring a certain William Smith and his hip, which apparently is questionable. Which death tax and Billy Smith being in doubt. He's a game time decision, isn't he?
Yeah, is it like a Kyrie questionable game time decision, or are we talking Anthony Davis game time decision?
Trust me, as someone that's owned LeBron and Anthony Davis this season, it's very much a game time decision every week, every day. But no, look, in all seriousness, we do see Mark Nwanga-Nitawaze and Robert Toya line up at the centers. If you guys do follow me on socials, or if you don't, I would recommend just checking out my last couple of posts. There's some good quotes from Trent Robinson. Seems like Toya is as locked can be. And Mark, well, it probably comes down to Billy Smith. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, it was the comment Mattrix about the versatility for Nwanga-Nitawaze. Like that's the biggest thing is like he can play in so many different positions. We can play him at fullback. We can play him on the wing whenever we want. It was just the whole, he's a utility for us. And that comment concerns me. Probably locks in Billy Smith if he's fit.
Yeah, if he's cheaper, then sure. But yeah, look, Billy Smith's going to get there. I'm interested to see, like, obviously Mark Alphabet is super, super talented. Like, I just wonder if he pushes like a Toya or somebody out if it clicks.
Yeah, that means that Rabbitohs also needs to be poor. I think to lose his spot,
I don't think
not going to happen. No,
40
I think he's going to be that
40 BP in 60 minutes, which was hot.
elite. Yeah, that 198k guy to put up 50 in BP. Thanks for coming. Just lock him in. It's the, dare I say it, Taylor May from 3-4 years ago when he debuted and played on the wing. We're probably the only time we ever mention his name on the podcast again due to circumstance. But yeah, that he could be that good.
Real Miles Bridges about that one.
Yeah, shout out to the.
I got rinsed for having him at about 50 in my draft board this year, so cool.
Oh, you think there's a comeback happening?
Super League draft board.
Mate,
I'm talking Miles Bridges, but sure.
Oh, right, yeah. Forward pack, super interesting. Lindsay Collins, Spencer Leniu. Probably what we would have expected if you told us to name a team in November last year. Connor Watson at 9, Crichton, Radley at 12. Probably that's where all three of us were leaning.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, the Spencer Leniu off the bench probably makes a little bit more sense for me as that impact forward. I don't know whether they're going to start him. It seemed like he's better off the bench, and it's just his role. We thought last year we got sucked into the trap of Spencer Leniu round 1, thinking he was going to get a minutes uptick, and then he just went back to being exactly the same Penrith prop that he and the same role that he had over there. But the Saul Wong at 13 is an interesting one.
Where were you a year too early?
Yeah, maybe. It's Nat White and Nat Butcher and Naf White off the bench that concern me there for Saul Wong. And he could have, there's every chance he could play 40 minutes on the bench max.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm off all three of them. So
Naf White looked okay last week, like to a point where I think he was good enough at the price.
I know he did, but you've got 80 minutes and Nat Butcher can rotate through obviously second row. But I just don't think there's enough minutes when I expect all these guys to get named.
Are we concerned, and none of you guys probably know this, but Benayu Alou is a cup hooker. Are we concerned?
No.
Am I concerned about Watson? Look, no, probably not, because Watson can also then roll into the 13, and you've got Saul Wong at 13, who...
And then you've got an extra one.
I just don't see Saul Wong getting any more than 40 minutes in this game. Nat Butcher can play on an edge. Naf White can also play on an edge and through the prop rotation for Spencer Leniu. Collins and Leniu probably play 80 minutes combined?
Yeah, maybe
max?
90, maybe. Yeah, max 90. So that's fair. And then you probably got 80-minute edges with Radley and Crichton. Radley, perhaps maybe not 80 minutes on an edge, but probably as close to 80 throughout the game as possible. But yeah, definitely want to watch and see what Robertson does. As for the Knights, this is pretty much the first lineup side, but we've also got our first Adam O'Brien halves change of the year. Ring the bell. We haven't even started the season. We've got our first half change of the year. Well done. That's a record.
Hang on, where is it?
Brother, what's that?
Tyson Gamble.
I don't know why you're saying and I don't know why you're saying ew, what's that? When we knew this was coming. It just probably come around earlier than what we expected. So this Adam O'Brien halves change, I guess for anyone not in the know, we have Callum Ponga, and we have Schiller and Marzu on the wings. That's fine. Gagai and Best. That's fine. Fletcher Sharp at 6. That's also fine. But then Jack Coggers looks like he's been dumped for Tyson Gamble.
Yeah. And we've talked about the fact that we don't love the fact that Tyson Gamble's going to be in the halves for potentially for Kalen Ponga, but just for the Knights in general. I think that Cogger is a better fit for this team than Gamble. But they've obviously leaned into the Fletcher Sharp in the 5'8" position throughout this preseason. So there's every chance he's probably locked that one in. Mattrix, what are your thoughts first of all on the?
I think Will Price is a better. I think Will Price is a better option. I think Jacko Hastings a better option. I think Cogger's a better option. As somebody that's unfortunately watched a lot of Tyson Gamble, I just don't think he offers anything in attack. And I mean, maybe they're trying to stop a little bit of that. But the Knights are just such an exciting attacking team, which is where the flavor for me comes. Where I get excited, where I get a little tingle for the Knights. But like in your Gregory Marjus, in your Pongers, everybody like that. But if they're getting poor service, like, man, how long are they going to do this for? And is it just going to be rotating through? Like you've got Brayley on the bench too, which I hate for Josh's 1 week take of Phoenix Crossland. Like
1 week.
There's not a lot to like from this.
It's at least 2 weeks in that take.
It was more just Josh on the train and he was bored. So just
it's a bit of a brain burbo take. Crossland.
Boys, we talked to Mattrix wasn't here, Mattrix, but we were talking about what we had to see from Iongi to pick him. It might be a case of what we don't see from KP might enable us to pick Iongi.
Yeah. Yeah, look, fair call. I mean, it's hard to not pick him though, isn't it, with the draw? Like, the Knights have such a good draw. It's really hard to look past, regardless of how bad we think they're going to be. I've got people out there.
Bad halfback.
We've got people thinking they're going to get the spoon. Like, fuck, man, that is the biggest overreaction I've heard this preseason.
Yeah,
like, there's no way the Knights get the spoon with their starting lineup. Like with this team, no chance.
Not with the buy round draft idea, steal of the draft, Leo Thompson this year.
Oh, fuck me. Yeah. That really solidified your bench. That was solid. But speaking of Dylan, the GOAT Dylan Lucas, friend of the show, there's no way in the world that he's not going to make an impact this year. I'm interested to see what the Lucas, Pierce, Paul, Frizzell kind of rotation looks like. Because I
ask, because Frizzell is not a front row forward, which is what I'm looking for right now. He's 528k.
So he's a 2RF only?
Yeah. I mean, for some reason,
I'm picking Johnny Bateman over Frizzell.
Bateman money, man.
You think Bateman averages more than Frizz? That's kind of spicy, considering Kai O'Donnell's going to replace him, as we all know.
Of course it is.
Probably for a draft, I think you probably. Do you think he averages more than what he did last year? Like, do you think he's going to be underdrafted?
Frizzell?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look,
54 last year.
Could be value, yeah.
If Jack, it just depends how many suspensions and send-offs and HIAs that Jack Hetherington has this year as to how Tyson Frizzell goes. But Matt Croker's played some 13 as well. He's played in the middle. Brodie Jones can play in the middle on an edge. Like, if this is what their actual bench is going to look like come round one, there's a lot of versatility on that bench that kind of provides a little bit of concern for any of these forwards, from even Lucas included. Kai Pearce-Paul's an interesting one, though. Do we think that now everybody's forgotten about Kai Pearce-Paul? He was so relevant last year, and everyone was maybe a little bit disappointed in how things finished with him. Do you think he's now going to be the guy that everyone misses, and we were just a year late on him?
How much more can he improve, though? Because he averaged 53.7 last year, despite people would lead to believe he averages 12.
The word was that he has gone. Initially in one of his pre coming over to the NRL interviews, he said he loves an offload. It's his favorite part of his game, and he loves to get the arm free. He's got long levers, and et cetera, et cetera. And then he basically had fucking 5 offloads all season.
Adam O'Brien said, "Not today, buddy."
Yeah. Basically, not this season, buddy.
Do you think maybe you're not that guy, pal?
No, do you think he gets the offload license back maybe to get the arm free? Because and they're also, keep in mind, Lucas and Pearce-Paul are swapping sides this year. Pearce-Paul's going to be on the right edge, which is where his preferred edge is.
Yeah, his preferred side's the right, and Dylan Lucas's preferred side's just in my team.
Are we creating a Kai Pearce-Paul narrative right now?
No, I think he was a bit of a cat.
Let's run it back, baby. Let's run it back. Second year in a row.
He was a bit of a cat. No, he was a bit of a cat. Like, I think, like, he was such his man mountain out there, and just like, I don't want to crucify the guy. Yeah, I don't want to crucify. Okay.
Me and you. Bateman versus KPP. End of season average.
Oh,
yeah. I mean,
love that.
All right,
lock
sweet.
it in, Eddie.
All right, sweet. Love that.
Love that. All right, that leaves us to move on, doesn't it? Final game, Storm and Cowboys. Munster and Harry Grant get their first hit out in this one, which will be nice. Jack Howarth, a guy I'm looking at, been named at centre. We've been pretty keen on him in nearly all formats. He doesn't have the dual in SuperCoach this year, which is incredibly disappointing, but he does have it in fantasy, so shout out to them. I mean, is he still in consideration for you, Josh? Because we've had chats about Howarth and how he's definitely an interesting take this year, considering the start of the year kind of tanked his average when he wasn't actually playing at centre. What did he average at centre? 55?
54 point something?
Yeah. Keen?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, of course. Like he will be my centering 4 if for whatever reason the Skelt man isn't named. So yeah, I'm very keen.
What about yourself, Matty? Anything stand out for the Storm here? I mean, it's Munster gets to go, but Jack Howarth, Harry Grant, Stefano, we get a second look at this week as well, which probably doesn't mean too much for SuperCoach, but could you be tempted into any of these guys that you weren't thinking about?
Yeah, well, I've been sitting in with Tino there the whole time. So if I do decide not to go cheap at there, I could just see me sitting there with Stefano all year.
You had Josh,
Okay.
you had Varlepu. Sorry, you had him in your front row forward at the moment. He's been named in the 18. So
I think we should replace
Had.
have with had.
Sorry. Was he another flash in the pan on the train?
No, he was more just a sad realization of how shit front row forward benches are going to be, and it's now Corey Hauser as my front row forward 3. So we've fixed that one right up.
Fair. Matty, what are we looking at the Cowboys? Because we get a look at Tom Duffy. That could be pretty exciting. And Purdue, these two guys are very relevant this year.
Sorry,
It's Duffy.
Can we just? Sorry, I don't want to butt in, but can we circle back to no Dally M halfback?
Yes, you had the news, so mate, you break it.
No, there's no. Stop throwing me under the bus. There's no news. I'm just reading Discord messages where people who know more than me reckon Jerome Hughes has cooked his neck. So, Ken Munster season?
Tyron Wishart season?
Isn't Wishart like hella
The
expensive?
price? Yeah, nah. I think he'd be like nearly 500K, isn't he?
And the rest, he's 560.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Hang on.
556.
That's cool.
Brother,
That's crazy.
what's that?
Yeah, that earned it.
I'll be off. I'd have to have a look at Katoa without Hughes, but like, I probably would just fade if Hughes is not ready round 1.
For Katoa, yeah, he probably slides down my board a little bit if Hughes isn't fit.
Yeah. We see Joe Chan on the bench, boys. Can we?
Yuck.
Can KPP and Joe Chan? Can we run it back?
I might just get Kane Bradley this year. So
That's still running it back, technically.
Trial week 3 here at Kane Bradley.
Fuck. Can't believe I considered having him in my team. That's
Boys,
good.
are you concerned that you're talking to both of you? Your fullback 1, Ryan Pappenhausen, not named.
No, he's in the 20 odd. He'll be right. He'll go on there and play 13 minutes and score 3 tries, and everyone will be happy.
considering his injury history, I think that it's best he doesn't play in any.
I genuinely still can't believe you guys were glancing him as much. Like, that's out of all the crazy things we've done this podcast this preseason, we've had some wild takes. My top craziest moment was you two still glazing Ryan Pappenhausen.
Yeah, I'm off him now. He's he's still a top 10, like a top 8. I think I had him at maybe 8 or 7 from memory.
Yeah.
But still, like, yeah, he's fine, but he's definitely not going to be like
He's
pushing
just
top
like
5
Connor
this
Tracy.
year. I'd love Connor Tracy. He's definitely going to be the spicy take would be to say that he outscores Pappenhausen. I don't think I've got that in me though.
I was going to
'Cause
say,
I'd
say
get
it with your,
cancelled.
don't be like, oh, you could. Just say it with your chest. Just be a man.
The problem is I don't
let's
believe it.
try and wrap the Cowboys up in 3 minutes so we can get out of here in less than an hour.
Oh, that's a good shout. Matty, what's going on at the Cowboys, mate?
Look, yeah, we're super excited about Thomas Duffy. If he's named round 1, there is, of course, the imminent return of one Jakey Clifford, the big red dog. But I think if Duffy comes out, and it'll be hard to lose the spot. I don't think Clifford was exceptional last year. So, yeah, look, I'm hoping that Duffy can hold that spot. Drinkwater. I mean, Drinkwater kind of comes into contention if Duffy isn't named, because Duffy is, by all reports, a better goal kicker. But yeah, look, not too much to look at. Named as per, I suppose, Johnny Bateman, Jeremiah Nanai swapping sides, Ruben Cotter there. You've got Harrison Edwards, Carl Lawton, Griffin named there. We're not going to get Robert Derby, which we were kind of hoping, but we may get one Jackson Purdue at 257K.
They're my watch list for me. Jackson Purdue and Thomas Duffy are the two guys I'm looking at. I want to see John Bateman and just kind of see what he looks like. I mean, from all reports, he's in pretty good shape. And as they'd say in the cricket world, he's seen him pretty well, which is very important coming into the season. I think he was quoted as well saying that shout out to Tigers fans. He was saying, and I'm basically saying shout out to me and Josh, that he came into the season for the Tigers in the worst at the worst fitness level that he's been in his career. And now he's back, funnily enough. Yeah. The poor years that he had, of course, it was to do with his fitness and his
Is that like Shane Flanagan saying that Ben Hunt was the only reason Ben Hunt led the try assist because of the Dragon system? So that means that Lachlan Ilias, I've mortgaged my house and just put him on the top. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. That's right. So, yeah, look, I mean, I think he's going to improve this year. John Bateman, he averaged 61.8 in games where he played 80 minutes that were injury unaffected. So,
he'll improve. It just won't be as much as KPP.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. And what are you going to do if you actually have a 4-pack of Bolter turn up at your door? Are you going to like tip it in the garden or something? Because you're not.
It would. Can
It's
I
going to have
ferment
to
it
be
into a
4-pack of
caramel
cruisers.
latte? Can I like ferment it into? Can it be turned like water into wine? Like Jesus, can we turn it into a caramel latte?
That's what Mattrix does nearly every morning before work. So that works out well.
I just drink a Bolter.
To be fair,
and I say thanks for the caramel latte.
Now that I started drinking coffee, I reckon a caramel latte would be more expensive than fucking beer these days because coffee in the northern suburbs of Sydney is not cheap.
Oh, go to a bar and ask for a fucking pint of Bolter.
Mate,
it'll probably set you back $15.
Anyone that follows me, like they know that I'm back in corporate now. I went for a drink with like my little like team on Friday. I paid $8.70 for a schooner of Carlton Draft. $8 for Carlton Draft, like not even like a good beer.
No, that's the Tony Abbott tax that you're paying because like now you're closer to the bridge. You've got to pay the Tony Abbott tax in addition to now.
Such a wanker. Why do I agree to do this?
You set yourself up for that one. Guys, there's not much else to talk about here. That's the trials pretty much wrapped up. We've got 7 games. We don't have 9 this weekend, unfortunately. We don't have a Thursday night game, which is even more depressing. But it's good to have footy back, but we're very, very close now to Vegas coming up, boys. We've got, 10 days, 11 days left?
11 days, yeah.
I just want to drop some knowledge, as Ty Lopez would say. For anyone that's actually got this far, shout out. But with Teamless Tuesday, you can pick Vegas guys. Once they play, they're locked, but you still have unlimited trades for like the other week. So I guess my little advice is if you're 50-50 on a player, like if you're choosing between player A and player B and you can't split them, pick the Vegas guy because you get a better idea of his team list beforehand.
Yeah, not a bad shout. There's the Corey Horsburgh conversation that we're all having. We haven't seen him line up for the Raiders yet at all, but they play game 1 in Vegas.
I guess a good example is like if you're choosing between Horsburgh or Aaron Clark and you can't have both, like Horsburgh. I would lean towards Horsburgh just because we know that he's going to get named. Not that Aaron Clark wouldn't, but like, let's say you're 50-50 and like Aaron Clark rolls an ankle at training and doesn't get named. Like, yep, screw it.
The 4 teams playing for those playing at home are Canberra, New Zealand Warriors, Penrith Panthers, and Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. And for the Betfred Supercoach, it's Wigan and Warrington. So.
The Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. You've used full government name.
Yep.
Nice.
I've been talking to you, man.
It's a good place to end it. The Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. Guys, thanks for watching. Good luck. Well, I was going to say good luck this weekend. There's no Supercoach on, but I'm sure that everyone's going to have a punt. So good luck on the punt. And we'll be back for future episodes in the next couple of days. We'll catch you then. See ya.
Cheerio.